I woke up when I was 6, blinked my young eyes wide awake, and only worried what breakfast my mom was gonna make. I spent most of my days hopping around, pretending the floor was lava, and the extremely complex things that kept me up included deciding why my mom called her coffee Java. I counted the tiles on the floor and went golfing with my dad just to scream. I spent my summers making mud pies and told my parents one day I'd be among the world's greatest American spies. Survival was easy for me. I was a happy little kid. But one day I'd realize it was all the things my parents did. I did notice when I brought home art, I would see my mom's happy eyes, but what almost always followed was one of her defeated, exhausted sighs. 6-year-old me skipped in one day as my dad looked through the mail. I said some nonsense about a wedding veil. Then my dad never smiled more when I eventually said I'd never marry a guy that didn't open my door. I watched him after that and his smile faded. I noticed those letters from the bank always made him jaded. Still, I went through my childhood like this. Life was so easy, they called it surviving and I called it bliss. Now when I wake up, I drive to a hospital where I work 5 days a week. I'm only a student, so usually I listen instead of speak. With my ears open, I take in that survival is the game and these patients want to win. The patient in room 763 had a stroke. His muscles on the right were completely contracted, his entire left side limp like it broke. It's one of my jobs to turn him every 2 hours. So one early morning I walked in and saw him, his room bountiful with flowers. He never really made facial expressions, making every 2-hour turn the dullest of sessions. It was time to turn him to the right. This is where his wife sat and always held his hand tight. I said as I turned him, "Now you can see your pretty lady's face." She gripped his hand now with a new sort of embrace. I saw him smile for the very first time. Only the right lip curled up. Anything else would be a climb. His wife gasped and a tear escaped her eye. I heard her whisper, "God, I love this guy." Later, when I came to check his resting BP, I heard his wife whisper something. She was thanking me. She told me that bills, societal rank, and what clothes you wear mean nothing when the love of your life isn't there. She said a smile seems to be nothing until you haven't seen one in a while, and then it's everything you need to be able to go another mile. And in that moment, something happened to me. The pressure in me lessened that I had to meet this expectation, this societal need, because I had a family who loves me and I knew how to read. Because after my mother sighed, she always got back up to hang my art. Because my dad never once looked at my math homework and wouldn't help me start. Because art can exist at my fingertips, whether I'm writing, filming, or shaking my hips. Many people think that the only way to survive is to find a stable job working 9 to 5. Some find their insurance, running, lifting, testing their physical endurance. Some seem to always get and never give because every man out for himself is apparently the way to live. Some live for the money and some live for the thrill. Some say they can only survive when puffing the cig or popping the pill. Now there is a saying I do believe to the bone. Don't judge people, to each their own. Whatever decisions you need to make to get through life, you do you. But let me remind you of something you might not know you knew. Yes, we've got to pay the bills to get the shelter and food. You've got to follow the rules so you don't wind up sued. You've got to move out and try things out on your own, and you might have to live off oatmeal or take out another loan. Life isn't handed to you, and it's not easy to get through. And you'll have to do the basic necessities to be the best version of you. But please, please realize that it is insufficient to focus solely on these things to survive, because it is love and kindness and the belief that there is more. That's what keeps us alive.